when you make videos that are just putting your opinion out there, or co-host a podcast that is also just you very bluntly stating your opinions on nerd things, the question of what's your favorite anime comes up more often than I'm comfortable with. And if I'm going to be truthful, I don't know that I have a good answer for that. Like, a lot of people would assume it would be like the original Mobile Suit Gundam or Macross, but I don't know. Like, I love those, and I keep going back to them, so that clearly says something. But are they my favorite? I'm not sure. I go back to Full Metal Alchemist all the time too, or just put in a Mamoru Hosoda movie and then cry uncontrollably. All of these are things that I like a lot, so I don't know what my favorite anime is. But I know what I think the best anime is. Cowboy Bebop was a series produced by Sunrise in the late 90s. That beautiful anime boom when things were really high budget and really high concept. I encourage people to actually show this one to people who don't like anime, just to show them everything that the genre can and honestly should be. It's smart, it's funny, it's sexy, it's tragic. It's probably the best piece of science fiction of that entire decade, and this is the same decade that brought us Farscape and Firefly, and like within 2 years of each other. When I look at Cowboy Bebop, I can't help but be excited. And you know what? I'm excited for that new Netflix show, which as of when I'm filming this hasn't premiered yet, but you better believe I'm going to try to game that YouTube algorithm. Go to patreon.com/Nikizumi. Ah. But when your YouTube recommendations are likely right now awash with other Cowboy Bebop content from bigger, fancier creators, what do I have to offer? What is a unique take on Cowboy Bebop that I want to explore? And I want to talk about the character who I think has the most tragic backstory. I the character who has the most tragic resolution of the entire storyline. I want to talk about Faye Valentine. Crap damn. Let's get sad-stalgic. One time I had a conversation with someone at a party who told me that they didn't like Cowboy Bebop because they didn't think the characters' backstories were explored at all. This was mind-boggling to me, partly because it's just so incredibly wrong, but also because it seemed like this person really wanted their hand held for an entire story and were telling me that they knew stories better than me because they were an English major. I didn't really want to engage with that person at the time, and maybe it's kind of a bitch move of me to make a YouTube video about it, but you know what? Eh? I've got a platform now, and I didn't then, so we're gonna do it now. The idea that the characters in Cowboy Bebop don't have their backstories explained is absolutely insane to me. Now, granted, the show doesn't walk you through everything step by step. This isn't Rock Lee repeatedly explaining his motivations 10 times over the course of one fight, but that doesn't mean it's bad storytelling. It just assumes that you're a grown adult who's paying attention to things. All of the characters' backstories are pretty completely fleshed out by the end of the show. No, you don't get walked through every little aspect of it, but that's part of the charm of Bebop. You meet these people kind of just in the middle of their shenanigans, and you learn about them in a pretty natural way, almost as if you're getting to know a group of friends. Jet is a former cop, and everything that happened to him is really the result of the decisions he's made. Spike is someone who's kind of running from his past, and eventually confronting that past is what brings him closure in the end. But then there's Faye. Faye is such a magnificent character. She's arrogant and stuck up, but she's also funny and fake it till you make it. There's something really charming about the way that she fails upward through life and then manages to just straight up fail when it looks like things are going in her way too much. But Faye's backstory is one of the cloudiest, and with good reason. She can't remember it. She knows she was in an accident about 50 some years ago, and she was put into cryostasis until a cure could be found. When she's finally woken up, it falls into the arms of a con man and finds herself with massive medical bills and no way to pay them, on top of not having any memory of who she is and why she was in an accident to begin with. Saddled with all this debt, Faye does the best thing she can. She tries to become a bounty hunter and take advantage of anyone she can to try to settle her debts and not be constantly in the red. But her main motivator, other than not being in debt anymore, seems to be finding out who she was before this accident, before everything went so horribly for her. And that brings us to probably the saddest point in the entire story for me. And it revolves around a beta tape. Yes, that's right. The YouTuber who's recently started surrounding themselves with VHS tapes for videos doesn't actually have any Cowboy Bebop VHS tapes, so it just didn't feel like it would be appropriate. Aside from the fact that we're not even talking about VHS, we're talking about Betamax, baby! Faye finally finds something from her past, a beta tape, something that might be for her. And if you don't know beta, that's not surprising. Beta was part of a format war with VHS tapes. Beta lost. So Faye's only answer to who she might be is on a piece of technology that was archaic and forgotten even in the 1990s when the show was made, let alone in the far-off future. After holding on to this seeming breadcrumb, hoping it can give her some answers, and not being allowed to touch the only beta player the Bebop crew could find after Spike and Jet get pissed with Faye, she finally manages to get the player and watch the tape. And what's on there is almost anticlimactic. It's just a little girl. She's recognizably Faye, but she's just going through her day, doing normal kid stuff. She talks about her excitement for the future and her hope for everything there is to look forward to. Everything she thinks there is to look forward to. This bright, joyous person, this is a part of Faye that she can't remember. A privileged upbringing, surrounded by friends, being excited for the future. What a disconnect. Still no names. Still no real connections. And then, without realizing it, how could she have half a century before? Little Faye twists the knife into her older self.
And now a big cheer from my heart. Let's go be alright! Do your best, don't lose me!
Don't lose me. Faye has spent the entire series trying to figure out who she is. She finally has something in her grasp, something that could explain the person who she was. And the only message her younger self has for her at the end of the day is don't do the thing she's already done and can never undo. Faye's story ends in anticlimax, and it's the most tragic thing in the entire world. Everything that she's worked for, and the only thing left is a message from her younger self that even if she listens to it, it's too late. Don't lose me. That kind of tragedy is something you don't often get in media. That kind of existential pain that only a few other titles, which some of which number among my favorites, have even ventured to explore. This, to me, is the ultimate tragedy of Cowboy Bebop. A series filled with sad endings for characters who we want to like. And there's something just so incredibly sad, even with all the death, even with all the pain, that when at the end of the day, what hurts more is a little girl pleading with herself not to lose something that's already gone. I don't know if live-action Cowboy Bebop is going to be as good as the anime. I honestly think that's too much to ask of any media, but I still want it to be good. I'm really excited about this cast. Mustafa Shakir and John Cho are idyllic for Jet and Spike. Oh my god, they're just beat for beat perfect casting, and I cannot wait to see what Danielle Pineda does with the character of Faye Valentine. She's already lucky enough to have a way better outfit for going out and fighting dudes, but I've seen her in some stuff and she's pretty cool. I can't wait to see what she brings to this character, and even if we don't get that tragedy in the end, it's not like Cowboy Bebop's gonna be gone. It's streaming in a lot of places, but at the end of the day, well, I'm kind of old school. Might be time to slap in one of these discs again and let Tank wash over me. As always, from the Fifth Avenue studio, this is Celeste Izumi saying, bang.